Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? We welcome you to the Mount Vernon Public Library. So on behalf of the Board of Trustees, the library staff, myself, Library Director, we have the Assistant Director, Tamara Stewart, in the back. I'm quite sure you've seen some of the staff ripping and running throughout the day, making sure that everything is right. Just to let you know, the mouse is mine. I just purchased it. There's no way in the world I was going to let that actually stay here. We are here today because of the importance of Black History Month. To me, it's not just Black History Month, it's Black History every day. Every day we live Black history. So being a student of people such as John Henrik Clark, Ivan Van Sertima, studying the information about Black bibliophiles from Arthur Schomburg to Edmund, so many different Black bibliophiles and Black historians. If you read Earl Thorpe's book entitled Black Historian, it gives you a plethora of information of historians prior to the Black historians being allowed to be considered historians. So one of the first Black historians to actually organize a comprehensive manuscript was by the name of George Washington Williams, a former military colonel, and actually wrote on behalf of what was going on in the Congo with Leopold and what have you. And this is in the late 19th century during that particular time. So if we look at Black history, we have to look at Black history not just in terms of dates and times and known events, but we have to look at Black history in view of historiography, in view of understanding sociology, politics, economics, art. I would say that in words of Kwame Nkrumah, Osagyefo from out of Ghana, one of the things that he would say is there can be no revolution without a cultural revolution. And the cultural revolution actually starts from the arts, from the music, from the drawing, from the architects designing and having a vision of moving society forward. And so, in words of Kwame Nkrumah or Osagyefo, Amir Baraka always would say that, because I'm from the city of Newark, but I'm here in Mount Vernon and I love it. But Amir Baraka would always say that there's no revolution without the arts. So if you look at the moving forces of gentrification throughout society, you would see arts like paintings and this. The Harlem Renaissance was moved not just from the political struggle, but it was also moved more importantly by the arts. And the Schomburg Library on 135th Street was a very integral part of that moving reality. So when we look at history, we have to include the arts. It's just a must. And I'm not just saying this because I'm an artist and I like art. I'm saying it because of the fact that you can't study history without studying all the seven liberal arts, from art, music, and politics and math and all those different things, because all of that comes together. All of it comes together, and it's always one real reality. So, and then in the words of Sheikh Anta Diop, he would talk about history being a component of three main factors: psychological, historical, and economic. So once you understand the psychology and the culture of the people, their folkways, actually, I'm saying it wrong. It's actually historical, psychological, and linguistic, because it's the language that helps build up the psychology and the culture and the relationship to each other. So how people talk and how people create nomenclature and taxonomies and so on and so forth, stuff like that. So we are living history right now. And I'm going to keep that painting, too. Hopefully somebody won't try to steal it for me on my way back home, but I love it. So I appreciate MC Cab being here. Have a great experience. I like your style, real smooth. Real smooth. Kind of remind me of D'Angelo, it's good. But I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate what you're doing, Dr. Bob. I appreciate the partnership that we have. And I would like to continue this because you're cool too,
Thank you, brother.
I like the way you wear your hats. Dr. Bob and I had some real good conversations, and we talk a lot, and he schooled me a lot, and I share information, and he's still on some great projects that he's working on, and he's a good person. So I think it's important for the library, and I welcome the idea of the library partnering with different neighboring communities, different communities in Westchester County, different communities outside of Westchester County. because we are all in this together at the end of the day. It's not just us, it's all of us. And so that's what history is about. History is galvanized with everybody involved and having a very important part of it, no matter how long, how short, but it's still part of history. So we're making history today. And I look forward to learning from you. I got your painting already, so we good, you know. Got your painting. So I'm going to be good with my wife tonight.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And on
Thank you.
behalf of the library, the Board of Trustees, DeCypher, we're going to continue to do these great cultural programs. Thank you so much. And
Thank you for having me.
yeah, no, this your house. All right. You need the mic, bro? Oh, yeah, go. Thank
So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Robert Baskerville. I am a longtime resident of Mount Vernon, and my friends know me by various names, Bob, Brooklyn Bob. I'd like to firstly extend a hearty welcome to all of you on behalf of Mount Vernon Library and our other partners in the DeCypher series. The DeCypher series is an effort to try to re-engage Black people in the pressing challenges of our time. I don't need to remind anyone of the momentous developments that we see both here and on a global stage, and the fate of Black people is at the center of all of these, and we cannot afford to forget it. This series is organized under the motto, this is a variety show that features authors, artists, scholars, journalists, both at the national level and at the local level, under the motto, entertainment, engagement, and enlightenment. The struggle to reimagine ourselves as a people is as old as the challenges that we have historically faced in this nation and across the globe. And the centrality of culture in that struggle was driven home to us by one of the real leaders of the Black freedom movement of the 20th century, Amy Garvey, who actually coined the phrase, "Black is beautiful." It's an immense pleasure for me to have on stage my man, Kev, MC Kev, with whom I go way back to our early days as a child, as children growing up here in the city of Mount Vernon. And it is especially fitting for Kev to join us, MC to join us on this Black History Month celebration, because as is evident to us, MC has been in the forefront of trying to reimagine Black beauty, Black potential, Black excellence, especially for our generation, which too often we seem has lost sight of that important movement. And so I want to thank you guys for coming out. I want to let you know that this is a monthly series that we do every Saturday. It features every third Saturday of the month. And it features a number of artists and scholars, and so I invite you to keep alert for further announcements to come out. We're very pleased to have you all with us. But now that we've finished the formalities, I want to turn to today's guest of honor, MC Kev. Many of you in the audience know Kevin. I see family, friends, but some of you may not know Kev, and so MC, and so I'd like to give him an opportunity first to tell us a little bit about his personal experiences growing up here in the city of Mount Vernon, the story of the man behind the artist, and how those experiences have allowed him to present to us such a visually stunning array of works.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Once again, thank you all for coming. I'm honored, and it's a blessing, and it's a pleasure. My name is Kevin Ville. I'm born and raised in Mount Vernon. I go by the nickname of MC, which stands for MC, Master of Creativity. But it also derives from the days of my rapping days and music. Everybody know I love to write, I love to perform, I love to entertain. So the word and the name and the acronym became befitting. So, of course, he knows me since I was a child, so Kevin is cool and I don't mind it, but MC is the name that I sign all my paintings and all my pencil work is because that's the brand that I'm pushing and that's the acronym that I live and go by.
So MC, tell us, how does your musical and artistic experience growing up in Mount Vernon during the 80s and 90s translates into the work that you have devoted the last, I guess, decade or 2 decades of your life?
Mount Vernon was very pivotal in the moment where I seen a lot of black images that I could connect and relate to. We are a Renaissance environment as well. We're small, but we into the arts, we into entertainment. I was in the music industry, so I had the little privilege of being able to see certain things and have a cultural awareness that most didn't have in my community because I was always traveling and going out and I was seeing our culture being depicted on screens and on films and also as well as art. So me being a writer and an artist as well, I always wanted to try to reflect that and combine those love and try to express that. So this played, Mount Vernon, where I'm from, played a major part on who I am as a person, and who I am as a man, and who I'm gonna be and become. So, if that answers your question.
No, it does, it does. I mean, I have to say that in an age where we see unflattering depictions of black people and especially black women, it's especially refreshing to see an artist who has really not only captured the physical majesty of women, but also provides, I think, a more uplifting vision of what the kind of qualities that we would like to see in women. And your oeuvre ranges across a number of different styles. And so the first set of paintings or images that we have are mainly pencil drawings. And so what I want you to do is kind of walk us through each of these. You can all see we have the first here is a beauteous meditation. Give us a sense, Kev, of where this fits in your sketch work, in your artistic work, and what inspired this particular.
Okay, a beauteous meditation. This piece, I created this piece because I had seen in a magazine a woman and she was just laying down. And then she had another pose where she was just sitting. And as I looked at it, I was like, nah, I have to draw something like this, but it's missing something. I need to create a scene, you know? So I thought about water, how water is energy, how it connects, and how it's so serene, you know, how it's so peaceful. So I said, I gotta put some water in this scene. I want her to be nude. I want her to be exposed. That shows her freedom. That shows that she's not afraid, you know, to show who she is. So I drew her naked. I drew her facing the water, meditating, because it just seems so calm and refreshing.
Right. And I've had the opportunity to see your work, Kev, we're Instagram friends, and that was when I first became aware, and I was instantly, as many of you probably are, captivated by the mesmerizing imagery and the transcendence that you find in these images. And so I just, I shared it with A.J. Woodson, who's the editor-in-chief of Black Westchester newspaper, by the way, which you'll find in your seats.
Yes, big up to A.J.
Yes, big up to A.J. He's on another event today. But we realized this was just something that we had to share with the rest of the city of Mount Vernon and throughout Westchester.
I appreciate that.
And so the next image also continues that kind of otherworldly almost beauty that you've captured in so many of your drawings of black women. This is sensual showers.
Sensual showers. Oh man, I always wanted to depict something with water, you know, water on a body, on the skin. You don't see it as drawn as much. So I wanted to draw it. You see it in paintings, and as a painter as well, I wanted to do it in pencil. So I thought this was real beautiful, you know, relaxing. Her eyes are closed, she's taking a shower. You know, when we in the shower, we think about everything. We go through our day, we go through, you know, what we're gonna do for the day. If it's in the morning, what we have to do, the things we have to achieve and our goals and dreams. So that's what really propelled me to create that piece right there. And it was fun. It was fun.
It looks like fun. So tell me, Kevin, tell the audience, in your artistic journey, most of us would assume that the artist begins with drawing with pencil work. Was that true in your case? And what are some of the advantages that pencil drawings give over other
Mediums?
media?
Okay. Well, yes, pencil is the first, right? Pencil is very unforgiving. You have to be on point and know what you know when it comes to pencil. Out of all the rest of the mediums, it's harder on the hands. I don't have a 2-inch brush, 4-inch brush where I could cover space. I gotta continuously use a sharp point and a pencil. And if I wanna cover whatever space, I have to use that. And I have to layer it and go over it and go over it and go over it. So that's the difference. And it's a little harder. And for those who's real good at pencil, it advances in everything else. So if I go to charcoal, if I go to acrylic, I go to oil, that's a walk in the park after you go through those levels of pencil work and have that understanding, a level of understanding when it comes to black and white opposed to color and manifesting something in black and white and making it look real, you know?
Right.
So that's the difference when it comes to the two. Pencil's a little bit harder.
Got you. So it sounds like at least one recommendation to all aspiring artists who want to perhaps enjoy the same level of success as you have is that they should really refine their technique.
Learn how to draw,
Right,
really
right.
draw and manifest images, you know, and you'll see how that will transcend to any other medium you go into. It will show. That's the point when it comes to graphite, it shows your level of skill.
So Kev, was pencil drawing something that you were doing since early childhood before you even undertook any formal training?
Yeah. I always sketched, you know, I always drew, you know, on my free time. In high school, I was in advanced art class, you know, Bronx community, I went for graphic designing. So I was always artistically inclined. And as I got older, my interests started expanding. And, you know, as of anything, you want more. And you want to continuously grow and push yourself. And that's something I always do.
Right. So, and I want to say, shout out to BCC, Bronx Community College, because as it turns out, I have the honor of being a fellow alum with Kev, with MC. I also graduated. I graduated from BCC as the semester before you entered. I think you entered in '92,
Yep,
fall of
92,
'92, and
yeah.
I graduated in the spring. So this is Feeling the Music. Oftentimes, music is really the foundation stone of so much of the aesthetic work and experience of Black people. And I see that you tried to incorporate that very consciously into this drawing. If our audience member looks a little closer, you may be able to see some of the subtle references to musical performance besides the elation that we can see and the joy that we can see in the listener, female listeners.
It's a nice word,
experience.
elation. I like that.
Yeah. But what are some of those subtle features, Kev, that...
Okay, for this Feeling the Music, now that was deliberately done, right? Because first, let me tell you who she is. This is Cassandra Wilson.
Okay.
She is a renowned jazz musician, for those who don't know, and she plays the guitar. So when I seen this picture of her, I said, I want to incorporate her love for music and what she does to jazz with the guitar on her. It just came to me. And I wanted to use the sun rays as the music symbols to come down. So when you see over here, you see the sun rays coming into her face, like she's basking in that gleam and in that glory, you know, like the sun, you know, because the music is what feed her, you know, and she looks so like so relaxed and so like, yes, you know, this feels good. So that's why I picked Feeling the Music as the title, which is self-explanatory, and that's why I strategically put those music symbols and everything, and you look on it, it's the neck of the guitar that's going down from her face down to her body. So that's the reason why I put that there. So that was like a no-brainer for me.
Right, right. Almost as if the artist and the music have melded into one single entity.
Yes, yes.
And transports us again. It's a moving image. Here's another one. This entitled Black Essence.
Black Essence.
And, you know, again, everyone, I think we can really appreciate this drawing even better precisely because it's in black and white and presents to us a stark image of, again, elation, transportation. We could see that this woman it's almost an ecstatic kind of experience, it seems, that you captured here.
Yeah, this Black Essence was real. When I seen that picture of Ndambi, her name is Ndambi. She's a singer as well. She's a soul singer, that underground, but she did a lot of background work for Erykah Badu, so she don't get a prop as much. But this picture was on the cover of Mark Baptiste's book, and once I seen it, I said, I have to draw that. I have to draw it. I want to capture the fro. I want to capture that darkness into light, you know. And I did it, and I was glad. This is one. I mean, a lot of people like these prints. When I show this piece, you know, it goes.
Right, right. Now, Kev, your artistic influences are numerous. You know, having viewed your work, I can see a lot of different styles. But I'm curious, and I'm sure the audience is curious to know, who are some of your principal influences, and how does that relate to your nom de guerre MC?
Okay.
And that we see signed on.
Yes,
I
on
think
all,
right
on
here.
everything.
Right. Oh.
It's there. Yep, there we go, right there. Yep.
MC and I, when I was taking a close look in preparation for today's presentation, I noticed there was a crown there, and I was curious to know how does that relate to your artistic persona?
Okay, that's a great question. That's a great question because a lot of people ask me about the crown, and you know the 3-point crown really derived from Basquiat, Michael Jean Basquiat, who's an artist back in the 80s, who you hear a lot of the rappers and everybody referring to now, especially Jay-Z. He did his thing. He was from Brooklyn. He was young. He was in the in crowd with Andy Warhol. He got his start. Came from nothing into something. So the crown, when I used to see that, I used to always look at it like, you know, that represents me. I always felt like I'm a king anyway.
Right.
You know, so why not incorporate that?
Right.
You know, and pay homage to him as well, because he did so much in his art world. So I said, I'm gonna sign my name and I'm gonna put that crown on top. So that's how we got to that point where I started putting the crown and using the crown. Thank you.
And Kev, since we came up at the same time, I know you, like me, had to be influenced by the atmosphere that had been built in Mount Vernon, especially during the 80s and 90s, especially by 5%ers, who really tried to transform the consciousness, especially young brothers, and asked us to try to imagine ourselves not by a lot of the derogatory terms that are in common use, but instead with these more uplifting terms like king. Am I just imagining, you know, these kind of influences, or, you know, how did the forces on the ground in Mount Vernon shape that?
That was very important that you say that, because coming up, I was very aware. Mount Vernon is a conscious city, You know, I was aware of my blackness. I was aware of my culture. I did not have no qualms with any of that. You know, I embraced my blackness. I embraced my beauty. I embraced the uniqueness. You know, that's what this city taught me. And being that we were so small and we were always considered like the cousins of the boroughs, you know.
Right.
That I felt like, you know, don't outcast us, you know. We have talent, we have gifts, we fly, we know, we hip, we not, you know, slow by far.
Right.
So coming up, that played a major part with, you know, I God and, you know, I Born and, you know, my other brothers. So we was always striving to learn more. So the lessons, and especially with the 5 percenters and the Nation of Islam, was very heavily influenced in Mount Vernon because we had the mosques and we have the Israelites. So it was a mixture of all these different religions or way of life, like I like to say, cultures and way of life, that you have no choice but to embrace your blackness. It's all over you. It's everywhere you go. You can't run from it. Accept it, embrace it, and love it.
Absolutely, and I gotta say, Kev, we can't really thank you enough because you are an example of a positive way to try to embrace one's blackness and to provide an example for so many others. And so that's really, you're gonna forgive me, MC.
Yeah. That's what, yeah.
I mean, I'm a fan personally, y'all.
Yeah.
I don't have much creative talent, you know, of this kind, and so I'm just stupefied, to be honest with you, because I mean, I can't even draw.
Just say intrigued.
Yeah, intrigued, because I can't, you know, begin to imagine doing this type of work. But here's your next drawing.
Yes, Royal Beauty. That's Ananda Lewis. For anybody who remember Ananda, she was a radio disc jockey. I think she used to work for BET and MTV. She took a picture like this in a magazine. And soon you see it, it was just so captivating. It's royalty, you know, and it was different. It wasn't the typical, you know, royalness where you have a crown on. She had, you know, these coins, like these gold coins that was going around. And I said, no, I have to draw this. And this was my first challenging piece when it came to objects. So I can see, let's see this. I can see how I've grown, you know. And that's why it's the beauty of having a portfolio, because you want to be able to see your growth and development. Like with all these little objects that I'm showing here, you know, it took me hours and hours to capture that and understand it first. Because I'm a true believer, you can't capture something if you truly don't understand it.
Gotcha.
If you understand it, you could capture the essence, the pure essence of whatever that is you're trying to capture. So I try to understand everything I come in contact with so I can, especially in creating something, so I can manifest it to the best of my ability.
And I'm curious, I've seen younger folks who are interested in art doing basic pencil sketches, and there seems to be a lot of emphasis on just mastering things like geometry. How much do any of those non-artistic disciplines factor into some, you know, your work?
Art imitate life, life imitate art. All of it plays a fact. I'm glad that you said that, because when you're doing measurements, you want to make sure the face is properly proportioned.
Right.
Those are measurements, those are centimeters, those are inches, those are angles. So you're doing geometry because you're dealing with angles. I was just saying earlier how I'm a master in geometry, just kidding around, playing around. But that plays a part, science. You have to know the science and understand how the anatomy, the human anatomy was created, where the joints are. So if I'm drawing something, it have to look real. So I know the internal aspect of what I'm drawing opposed to the external aspect, just in case I don't see it. Because we have what we call in pictures camera flaws. Mm-hmm. So now you get to the point where you might not be able to see it, but you know it exists.
Right.
I'm looking at you from here. I can't see your eyelashes, but I know you have them. So I have to put them on.
Right.
Because I know that they exist. So I say that as an example on how important it is to know just the dynamics of the human anatomy and certain things. And all that comes into play with math, science, geometry, different aspects of putting and incorporating these things. Because if you don't use that, then it's going to look deformed, it's going to look out of place, it's going to look unnatural. So that all ties in.
Got you. So it's already evident, and I didn't fully appreciate this until our discussion, that you draw inspiration from a lot of contemporary historical figures.
Mm-hmm.
And I gather that this is one of them.
Yes.
As a child of the 80s and
Very
90s,
underrated.
You know, a fabulous singer.
Yeah.
I take it that you tell us who this is, because I said to myself last night, I don't want to get this wrong. But
yeah, this is, Anita Baker.
Absolutely.
And this is when she was young and vibrant, when she was making all them 80 hits, and she had that fur on, and it was nice. And I said, I just can't draw the picture. I have to do something creative and unique to it. What is that? She got the fur on. It's snowing. It's snowing music symbols. That's, so that's what caused me to create. And a lot of other artists ask me about this piece. Like, did I go on top to get this white? Did I use a white pencil?
Right.
No. I sketched every piece and went around each individual piece. So I took that process that could have took me if I'd have just did the whole thing and then put the pieces with a white pencil on top of it. It would have cut down 10 hours, probably.
Right, okay.
But this was the best way I was going to be able to achieve the brightness of certain whites that I wanted. Because once you actually start putting the lead on top of the paper, it'll take some of the white off when I start erasing.
So I want to be clear, Kev. So you're saying you sketched out the initial image and then you drew all the musical notes first?
I drew so I sketched it out and I drew all the notes on where I want. So it took a lot of erasing. Oh, I don't like this way it's slanted. I don't like this quarter note. I don't like this half note. So me knowing music, I knew exactly what notes I wanted. So that was key as well. So it helped me a little bit, but then it drove me crazy because you could know so much and you like, now what you gonna do? Because you have all this information. So I said, just start putting the notes that come to you. And I sketched the notes, and once I sketched the notes onto the whole sketching, then I started shading actually around everything. So it made it hard. It was hard. Yeah. This is a hard piece in pencil. And I challenge anybody to try it. It's hard.
I certainly will not take you up on that, Kev. I know many of us recognize the rapture of love. That was Anita Baker's Monster hit, Monster album. Those of you who are too young to know it, I urge you to go back and do it. Now this is another. And I think I know who I see here, Tribal Queen 3. But I'm going to allow you to elaborate. Is this also?
This is Left Eye, Lisa Left Eye. And I met her, so, may God rest her soul. And when I seen this piece, I was looking for another, that's why it's Tribal Queen 3, because it's 1 and 2. So I did 2 alive and 2 deceased. And her eyes were just captivating. She always had those eyes. There was something about those eyes. She had real dark brown eyes where you almost can't see her pupils almost.
Right.
And so those eyes was captivating. And I said, know what, I got to do her for Tribal Queen 3. And as you see on her face is a butterfly. They all have butterflies. Like I said before, women are precious and beautiful like a butterfly with many colors, very fragile, but beautiful and strong to be able to take the currents of the wind. So butterfly is very befitting. So that's why I chose the tribal butterfly. and anybody know art, that's tribal style. So that style of butterfly that's on her face is tribal. So that's why I said Tribal Queen 3.
Got you, got you. Now, you have become so well known for your portraits, especially of musical talents, that you were recently commissioned
Yes.
to do a portrait for one of Westchester County's most renowned musicians.
Yes, Mary and my guy Ricardo Cruz, he put that together and made that arrangement, and we made that happen. That was a beautiful thing, you know, and meeting her, seeing her in person is live, you know, from when I seen her from back in the days and stuff like that, and how she morphed and grown. So it was just a beautiful experience, you know, and as well as every piece that I do, whether they're a celebrity or not, you know, I love all my pieces equally. You know, all the amount of work and time goes into each piece the same. You know, I don't play when it comes to creating, and I give it my all. So it doesn't matter who it's for, you're getting my all, because that's what I believe in.
Right. Now, this piece that we see is Galactic Groove. It also is a pencil sketch, I gather.
A drawing, pencil drawing.
A pencil drawing. But at least we see something of a shift here, because this is the first piece that actually features a black couple in a romantic embrace that captures the tenderness of black love that often goes overlooked today. And is a reminder to us all of the comfort that we can find in one another's arms if we have that right person.
Yes.
What inspired that? That's what I see here, Kev.
Unity, man, love, man, is very important. And love is the divine conqueror of all things. You know, when you have a special person in your life, it makes life easier. You know, you have somebody to vent to connect and build with, so that's very important. I always want to show that, you know, when I get the chance, because that's very important. We need to see it, especially us as black people, you know. So I seen a piece of a man and a woman dancing, and then I said, no, I got to put them out of space. You know, this is astronomical.
Right.
You know,
right.
it just was befitting. So that's why I created that in the Galactic Groove. Yeah,
Right.
I like Galactic Groove. And I might expand on this thought in the future. So y'all gonna see more of things like this. I'm being quiet about it because I like to really do it and then show. But you're gonna see more of this, more in color.
Right. And I'll say that for those of you who are interested in following Kev MC's development in his latest works, he does have a website, MC7
MCCreations7.com.
7.com.
Yes.
We'll try to pull it up afterwards, but I did. Go on.
And my Instagram is M_C_Cav. So that's how you could really see my day-to-day progress and the things that I'm working on, you know, and the current, you know, my day-to-day stuff.
Got you. Oh, here we go.
Hey, don't get back to that. Ray.
No. Yeah, here's Ray, and I think everyone recognizes this stylized portrait of
Ray Charles.
Ray Charles, thank you. One thing that I noticed that was unique about this is that it seems to be a bit more abstract. You know, the technique that you used here is not a literal rendering, but rather the sketchwork somehow or the other.
So this is called Impressionism.
Okay.
It's an impressionistic style in pencil. I haven't seen any deep impressionism style in pencil like this. That's why I've done it. So a lot of people who's into art, like art teachers and other artists, they really love this piece because doing that in pencil is not easy.
Right.
Doing it in paint, it's a painting style that I incorporated in pencil.
Got you.
So that's how you got that technique. That's how it would cause me to create that technique. And it was fun. And I need to do more.
Well, we couldn't agree more with you, brother. Now, here we again see another transition, and this time through the incorporation of color,
Yeah.
which thus far we didn't find in your pencil work. This is Mother Nature, and what were you trying to convey to the viewer?
Well, we always hear Mother Nature. We always hear Mother Nature, and when we see Mother Nature, you know, we go out to the woods and we absorb, you know, the flowers and the trees and water. We observe her beauty. Why not put a face to it? You know, that's my thought process. Why not put a face to it? They say Mother Nature. Okay, so I'm gonna draw nature, and I'm gonna draw Mother Nature, my interpretation, and that's how I came up with that idea. And the color scheme, I wanted to use green, phthalo green, phthalo blue, because those colors are attractive and different, and it gives you, and it's nature colors. So that's what caused me to create this, and I love this piece. I want to do a part 2 to this.
Right. And I mean, this kind of harkens back to, I think, a more direct relationship that humanity once had with nature. As we become more urbanized, we've kind of lost contact. But even by looking at it, I think we get a sense of tranquility.
Great word, great word.
You know, just through the images alone, and it's
And
an
look at the little
invitation.
waterfall.
Yeah, I
Hold
was
on,
going to say that.
Let me see. You see,
see,
and
I
it's
thought
2
I-
waterfalls, you know.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you something, y'all. When you're doing pieces like this, see this waterfall here and this waterfall over here? When I did this piece initially, I was like, I'm not covering that waterfall. I'm going to make sure they see that waterfall. So everything is strategically placed, from the eyes, the nose, to the lips, from the trees. There's a lot of thought process that go into that. So it may look like it's like, oh man, he did a nice piece. No, it was strategically put everything, every little piece. And that's for all my pieces. I'm very conscious of what I do and what I want the viewer to see and what I want the viewer not to see.
Right. I mean, we could see it in the way that the water sort of cascades over her facial features, giving it a little bit more dynamism, I think, you know, to come across the lips and to flow down.
Yeah.
Really is an evocative image.
Yeah, my cousin took that piece off of me a long time ago.
Oh, okay. Well,
Soon when he seen it.
you know, I'm not going to tell you I'm going to lighten you up before you leave the library, but, you know, tomorrow might help me out with it.
Yeah.
Now, here's another piece, again in color, and also making use of water as a central theme.
It's a lot of water. Okay. Y'all just put me on to something. I have a lot of pieces of water. You know, water is energy, you know, always connect. Splash. If you remember the movie from back in the day, Splash, I remember as a kid watching that movie, and I remember she flipped her fins up into the water, you know, and was going down. I was like, yo, that's so cool, you know? I like that. And as an adult, when the perfect opportunity came for me to paint something like that, I did it. And I used those colors. I wanted to be a night scene though. Her scene was kind of day. I wanted mine to be like night. I want the moon to illuminate. I want to give it that vibe where you see it. It's like, what is that? Is it a mermaid or is it a fish?
Right.
Who knows, you know? It's up to I made this piece for the viewer. It's whatever the viewer say it is.
Right.
However the viewer connects with it.
I mean, as I look at it now, I'm conscious that the figure is descending beneath
Yes.
the surface of the water, almost as we might descend into our own subconscious as a people, as we try to reflect on where we're at.
Get deep with it.
Well, you know, Kev, I
Yeah.
try. Thank goodness you're here, brother, to inspire me.
Deep with it.
Here we have Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing. A lot of people love this piece. My mom loved this piece. My mom got this piece. This piece right here, Dirty Dancing. Everybody say it reminds them of Ernie. You know, Ernie pieces from Good Times. Remember where JJ was on? Well, the artist's name is Ernie. Yeah, Ernie Barnes, right? Ernie Barnes. And I said, that was the 70s. We got to give them something for the millennials. You know, we got to give them something for now. And everybody's so different. And that's why you see is monochromatics in each piece. So monochromatic means that using the variation of one color, not going out that color scheme. So can I see this? Yeah. So this lady right here in this Arizona Chrism, one of my favorite colors, you see, I'm not going out that color scheme as him. I'm not going out the color scheme. And everybody, because this represents the human family, this represents all of us. We're all unique and different. We have our own colors, you know. And I tell everybody, you know, embrace that. Don't run from it, you know. So I like this piece. It's very creative. And a friend of mine loved this piece so much, he commissioned me to paint it over, but just different for him, because he had a club at the time, and I did it over for him, a little bit different. But this piece, very colorful, party scene, good vibes, man, good energy when you see this. You see these two right here. Everybody have their own identity. You know, I even did the sandwich. Look at the sandwich back there. Look at them. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, different styles of dancing, as you see, all incorporated in one space.
Right, and in a way, a very multi-generational portrait. Some of the styles of clothing, at least the brother with the fedora in the front, harkens back to maybe an earlier era, although the fedora is making a comeback these days. So I was...
And a checkerboard blazer.
Okay.
Look at the checkerboard blazer. The checkerboard blazer right here.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Well, look at this guy. This guy right here, what he's doing, he's holding her up in the air. She's just blocking him. Look, her feet. Right. He got her hand, his hands is grabbing her butt, and she's up in the air. So you got to really look at this piece. She got her arms in the air like she's having a good time in the background. So this is a fun piece. When you look at it, really look at it, and see all the different characters.
Got you. Here we go. This goes back to black and white, but I was very conscious when I saw it of the application of a more abstract kind of techniques.
Yeah,
I won't attempt to put a name on it, but it's very obvious in the way that the image has been broken up and reorganized with these geometric shapes. At least what I saw, it was singular in that regard. What inspired this particular piece, and why do the play with the geometry like this?
Okay, well, this is called cubism. So, for those who know, who's into art and might not know how to identify with the styles, that's why I had a different variation of styles, because I love to educate our people on art, because when I go everywhere else, you know, I don't see much as us, and I always try to invite and get us into it, because that's what we need to be getting into, because art is life and life is art, and every bit of art. Cubism is dealing with the shapes of things. So you got Picasso. You always hear Picasso, Pablo Picasso. He was a master in Cubism. That was his style. That's what he did. This is Cubism. So it's two styles in one. It's Cubism and, like you said, abstract. Abstract is just taking something from the norm and twisting it, bending it, redefining it the way you see it, and the way it makes sense in your mind, the artist's mind, and whoever connects with it, which makes it abstract, is just taking it outside of the norm. So I wanted to always do a piece of a face in Cubism, but not the typical way, you know. And so if you don't know, a couple people get this right, but this is Rihanna.
Okay.
And I cut her distinctive features off like her chin, because I didn't want people to get it too much in certain little pieces. But I discovered a lot of people who's been into my art, they've been getting it. And they've been like, oh, I like that Rihanna piece. So.
Kev, I got to tell you, you know, I noticed that you had shapes of a woman here to suggest that women are far more multifaceted.
Yes.
And can't be reduced to the physical form alone. And also sort of, as a man, you know, reminds me of the puzzle of womanhood.
Yeah.
And maybe how it requires us to give more thought to the experiences of our female counterparts and how we can best complement.
Because there's many shapes to a woman.
Right.
You know, a woman is not one shape. You're not one shape. A man is not one shape. I don't believe in people just being just one thing. This is just who they are. They multifaceted. They have different aspects and things that who they are. You know, whether they express it or not is up to them. But, you know, we are multifaceted people.
Right.
100%.
I know the library director, Davis, had a comment that he wanted to make.
You need the mic? Oh, okay, thank you. I was just having such a good time looking at the images. I agree that there's Cubism, but also, is it on, sir? Should be. But I also see some Salvador Dali.
Of course.
Surrealism there.
Yes,
Wine,
yes.
Stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, it's Cubism. I see that Picasso. But there's a lot of Salvador Dali. And I see a lot of Salvador Dali in many of the different styles.
That's one of my favorite artists. So you know your work. He's an artist right there. He knows some. All right. Salvador Dali is one of my favorite artists. He's a surrealism artist from back in the days. If you see dripping clocks and breasts on trees as fruits, he was very eclectic and eccentric and different. And that's what I loved about him. So he pushed the envelope of creativity. So you're going to see some of that in my work because I love to push the envelope of creativity. You know, we could take pictures or images and hang them up all day. I believe an artist, if you're going to paint it, be creative with it.
Right.
You know?
Your familiarity with the different artistic schools comes as no surprise to us, but I think it is a reminder of the importance of studying one's craft.
You have to.
And whether one goes to formal training at BCC or some other educational institute, or you come here and you're self-trained, the library has an extensive collection of books, especially books that are germane to the Black experience as a scholar. I can tell you that there are lots of books that I look for in Westchester that can only be found here. For example, papers of Marcus Garvey, you know, amongst others.
And then, if I'm not mistaken, we actually want to ascertain the Hugh Harrison papers as well.
Wonderful, wonderful.
But, I mean, if you don't mind me interjecting, I have to get the mic. Thank you. So the reason why I became a librarian is because of the fact that I would always go to the library as a child because it was a safe haven. Prior to the crack epidemic, it was a heroin pipeline that was very impactful in terms of Black communities, so on and so forth. So my grandparent actually would walk us to the library, and when I went in the library and seen all of these large, you know, volumes of books about art, and I was like, y'all like this. This is good. I mean, the comic books, all that was just something that actually changed my whole world in terms of coming to the library. And then seeing how the books was organized in the 800 section and so on and so forth, 700s, if you will. You know, it was cataloged, so it changed everything about the way I thought about it. And instead of hanging out, I was in the library. So the guys that was out there dealing, I was like, well, I'm going across the street, because the library was like not too far from where I lived at. So, and then I started studying the different types of styles from Cubism to Impressionism to, and even black artists such as Ernest Edward Bannister, Ronald Duncanson, Emonia Lewis, and goes on and on and on and on, and being intertwined in the Harlem Renaissance and Washington Renaissance and Philadelphia Renaissance, and art was a very important part of each one of those mobilization forces. So, thanks.
Right. And Director Davis' synopsis of the importance of the Renaissance is a reminder to us all that if we hope to see the kind of turnaround in the city of Mount Vernon, I think that many of us are really eager, especially as we enter, those of us who used to be G's and run the streets of Mount Vernon, I think our consciousness has been transported, and we understand that there is a need for a transvaluation of values here in the city, and it's going to be artists like Kev and the MC and the cultural institutions like the library that really support it, and I hope that, again, it's an invitation. This is a way of me saying, come back next month, y'all.
And this, if you look at Philadelphia, for example, when you ride down to Philadelphia, in certain parts of Philadelphia, you're going to see great murals. So some of those abandoned apartments and abandoned buildings, they actually created murals. And it gave, a lot of the artistic movement and the monies and the funding sources was actually in that particular area. Same in Newark and same in other different type of cities. I think Mount Vernon is a great place to engage in the arts and being able to mobilize the city and move the city forward with the arts being first of a cultural, political change, if you will.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, New Rochelle as well, and if you look at other cities. So I think that we can't move without the arts. Arts is everything.
MC, we need you, baby.
All right.
That's what the deal is.
Visual.
This one is Visual Ecstasy. I'm going to just hand that over to you. I guess another monochromatic.
Monochromatic, there we go. Of who, though? Of who? And I was around her, and I forgot to, hey, that's right,
okay.
Taraji. So, right? And it totally slipped my mind that I created a piece for her. She's right here, and I'm just totally on a different mission at that time. But Visual Ecstasy, because that's what this looked like to me. Especially, with these circles that's right here. It's like that reminds me of like stars, or somebody just meditating and seeing stars and seeing whatever energy that they're observing to get their meditation. So this is how our visual ecstasy will look like and feel like just by this expression. Oil. A lot of people think, it's good that he say that, because a lot of people think that my pieces are airbrushed. They're not airbrushed, they are oil. So that means that to get that smoothness is my technique on the brushes I use and how much I go over my faces. So I might go over a face, couple layers, I might go over 10 times, sometimes 15, to get certain layers and certain smoothness and things of that nature. So it's just the technique that makes it look like that.
And the thing is, oil is hard to work with of all of the paintings, right? Am I wrong? It's messy. Maybe not for you. It's not for you.
Because I'm used to it. It's slower. It's very slower. And acrylic is fast.
It's fast because it dries fast.
Yeah, acrylic is fast. But oil, a lot of people, I met a new artist, I believe 2 weeks ago, and he was saying how it was unforgiving about, using oil. Like, oh my God, I'm messing up so much because, it's oil. So it's not dry yet. He want to go on and do certain effects. He can't yet because it's still wet. So, and you got to work wet on wet. You got to be good to work wet on wet sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. But oil, I think.
That's phenomenal. I thought that was actually airbrush, to be quite honest with you.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
That with oil?
Thank you.
Well, I think everyone's astonishment speaks not to just how accomplished you are, but I think, the need to have you pass on the craft to the next generation of up-and-coming artists who are going to be following in your footsteps. And that gives me an opportunity to ask, as we transition to the next, where what kind of work, besides being an active practicing artist, what kind of other work are you doing to bring new people into the craft behind you?
Well, I want to say invited. Yeah, invited. Just, I have recently been invited to be able to teach at Iona College, teach art. So they sought me out. So that's about to happen, definitely. And I do workshops, you know, anytime, one-on-ones. You know, I see a kid in the street or wherever, if I'm working, whatever I'm doing, and I'll give them tips if they ask me, you know, anywhere. So I don't have to be in the conventional setting. I'm very unconventional, and I believe that's the way, you know, you should be unconventional. You know, conventional is boring. You know, everybody, you get used to conventional, you know, unconventional way. So you see me in the street, a kid can see me in the street, he can see me in the mall, he can see me shopping, he can see me in a classroom. It doesn't matter if he need to know something or she need to know something and I have the answers in regard to art, I'm gonna give it to him.
Well, unconventionality is a good thing. Now, this is Bejeweled Zena.
Yeah,
Zena.
Zena.
And I think
The
that,
X.
you know, it's one of those works that really captivated me. And we could see that she is decorated with some wondrous jewelry. What inspired this and the selection of the jewels in particular?
Yeah, man. Oh man, I had to go through so many jewel books and magazines and just to pick out the jewels that I like. But first of all, I just wanted to say, you know, women are the jewels, you know. I believe they are jewels, they are precious. And how can we display that and show that this is the best way that I felt I could come up with? You know, I want her skin to be draped in jewels. That's her clothing. When she stands up, this is what you see, her jewelry strategically placed, you know, as her clothing, as her garments, you know, because they are a part of her. And this is a beginning of my superhero, one of my female superhero with powers. Every time I look at it, the idea just comes back to me and how this centerpiece right here, where the third eye at. You see that? You see that diamond where that third eye at is the most power right there. And you know, she can give an energy burst that'll do some remarkable things with that, you know. So every time I see this piece, I think about character, you know, superhero, because, you know, to be honest, black women are superheroes, right? I mean, am I wrong for that?
No, listen, my mother's a superhero.
Of course, my mother's superhero, my
got me
sister,
here.
my baby superheroes, all y'all women are superheroes. You know, it is what it is.
I see vestiges there of Miles Davis' Bitches Brew. You know the album cover?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Hey. Well, they was naked. Oh yeah, but yeah. So, you know, and it just shows like, you know, that us, you know, can always appreciate, you know, jewels and beauty that's in a woman, man. You know, it's cut and dry. I don't try to be too deep. I try to make it plain to the viewer, and then when we can have a discussion and when it becomes a conversational piece, then you see it's deeper than what you just see.
Right.
So this is just a manifestation of what I believe that the women are, but it's much more deeper than that. But this was the best way I could replicate it and show that, you know, black women are jewel.
Right. And, you know, we can see here some of the, especially in the room, some of the especially striking work that you've done with the paint, especially the two large paintings that are displayed on the side table there. I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but it was those two paintings that I first saw on your Instagram page that just struck me. And you know what? I'm sure, because all of our gazes are kind of transfixed over there. I think everyone appreciates what I'm saying. I'm not going to, maybe I should get back to the screen, because otherwise we'll get caught up what's over there. But we're going to also have an opportunity to talk. Now, here's one, Knowledge Wife. And many of us who are looking at this now will be uncertain whether or not this is an actual painting or it's a photograph. There's such vivid detail, and it seems so lifelike, at least for me, and I know we talked about some of the things, but one of the features that I noticed was that gave it a kind of realism that was surprising is that you can see the tone of her skin closer to her shoe is different, which is exactly what you would expect. So what was the inspiration for this? And how, MC, do you make it so damn realistic?
Knowledge is my guy, man. He's a good brother of mine, and his wife is into art, and she always wanted a particular picture done. And he asked me, you know, will I be able to, you know, manifest this picture? I said, of course I will be. But he's very picky. He was scared because he's like, you know, my wife, she's hard. And I said, let me get the picture, man. He gave me the picture, and it was all she wrote. And I just remember the fun part for me was, the fun part wasn't making it look real, because that's kind of, making it look real is kind of easy. What's hard is getting creative when it comes to a piece for me. But just to mimic something on a picture, it's easy. But this right here, her outfit she had on, that's what drew me to it. I said, no, I want to do this piece because, you know, the detail and all these designs, and over here you can see it's chains. When you see this piece is fire. And
What's the size?
18 by 24. 18 by 24. So it's a little bit smaller than what you see now, but wider. Like around like there, right? And doing the fabrics and everything on the clothing, I had to go through so many different colors and different brushes. I just had a whole bunch of detail brushes in all the colors on my palette, and I kept dipping it, going in each one and going in each one and going. This took most of the time right here.
And we can, I mean, the pattern is just
Everything else,
phenomenal.
Thank you. Everything else, like doing the wall and the statue and the rug, when you see how I did the rug, you can actually see the texture in this rug when you see it up close, even down here to the bottom of where the wall ends at, when you see things like that, where they have at the end of the wall. But this, what gets people is the shadow here and the shadow here. And your eye says it's real, because I put in the shadow from the up to here. All these little subtle things is what made it look real, and I deliberately put those in there because he wanted to make it look real. He said, I wanted to make it look just like this, and that's what I did.
Well, you really,
Nice piece.
yes, captured her. This is Deep Seeing,
Oh,
and the title alone already begins to,
Deep Seeing.
you know, present us with a puzzle to figure out.
Yeah, Deep Seeing, man. Deep Seeing, is y'all familiar with Beowulf? Yeah. Okay, the movie Beowulf, so everybody know the scene where Angelina, where she was at the end and she was looking. When I seen that, I said, I'm going to paint something like that in my way. And I happened to come across a picture of a woman in water. Now, that's it. It was just a woman in water. I put this up here, you know, it was her whole face. It was showing her she was in water. And I said, no, now I got that look. Because it's a look. I want that piercing look.
Right.
You know, and she had that look, and I just changed her eyes into blue, or that background. I created that whole background with the red, yellow, and the white, and the blue, and the red, like almost kind of like the American color, with the twilight. And she's in the water. And I didn't do the water typically like how you see water. I did the water like that because that's when you're high up and when you see the clouds and you're that close, the water becomes a mirror and it reflects all the images and everything that you see. So that's why we have the water with that color in the water as well. And those lights are bouncing everywhere from the sun in the background, which is a twilight. And it's mysterious. It's mysterious, you know, what she's looking at, what is she? She's a mermaid, is she's human? Where is she? Look like she's in the middle of nowhere, you know, and she's deep seeing.
Right.
You know, she's deep seeing. So it's almost like a double entendre, even though I put the seeing as in see, but we already know that the S-E-A as in the sea. Right. You know, so that's why, and it's deep. So the title's befitting, Deep Seeing.
Absolutely. Now, when you and I talked, MC, I asked you specifically about overt political influences in your work.
Yeah.
And you told me that you don't necessarily focus consciously on political themes.
Yeah, I don't.
But this is, for all of us, obviously, is so fraught with political meaning.
Yes.
Precisely because of the figure who's represented here. Everyone will realize this is Nelson Mandela. And unlike many depictions of Nelson Mandela, which would be far more serious, this seems almost a kind of comical, satirical element that you've incorporated through the visual elements, the paint on the face, which suggests almost a clown, circus imagery. And then you got the gloves, and of course you have his the stripes of his prison uniform. So that's a lot of different themes going on there. And I was curious, and he has such a broad smile on his face. How did you come up with that?
I was commissioned to do this piece. All right, now this piece, let me tell you how this piece came about. A good brother of mine, Lenny, commissioned me to do this piece. He was intrigued about Nelson Mandela, and he's a Russian Jew. And when he read the book, he just connected with him, He felt like, this man been through a lot. He's been persecuted. He's been in prison for so long just for standing up and fighting for his rights and what he believed is right for his people. And then to actually come home and become the president of the people who once put him in prison. It's like one in a lifetime thing. This man is beyond great, and not to be disturbed by that, to still have a smile. Look at his smile, to still have a smile, to still be able to function and have all your faculties. If you see his cell where he was at, it was a dungeon underground. They use that as a historical monument now. As a museum, you go in there. People say they feel the energy in there and they get chills because of being to have phantom, to be living in that condition.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And be able to be sane. It gives a testament to show you how great he is. But I wanted to show the playful side.
Right.
He's known for being a serious person, but he's also a man, and he's a human, and he has a playful side. And so this is me flirting with that idea, but also giving a conscious decision of the political aspect of what he's been through and how he knocked them out.
Right. It almost reminds me, I can't help but, and Director Davis in a moment, but it reminded me, one thing is,
that's my guy right there.
Who gets the last laugh?
Yeah.
Very clearly that when one acts with heroism, it often will pay off in ways that one doesn't realize, because I'm sure Nelson Mandela, when he was in the forefront of the struggle in South Africa, did not and had found themselves under the control of the apartheid regime did not imagine that one day he would become the celebrated international hero that he is today.
Yeah,
So that
definitely.
should steal all of us. Whatever we're doing in our respective lives, I hope that means that we'll, take strength from his memory and from,
His
the
life,
moralizations
his book is
of this.
phenomenal.
Yeah. Now this is,
Yes.
The point I was going to make is that Bethune was actually a great boxer too in real life.
oh, I did
Yeah,
not know.
nah, he boxed.
Okay.
He had hands.
Well, all right.
Yeah, he was nice.
Interesting detail. I was unaware of that. This is the last of the montage of paintings that you shared with us today. For me, I think it should be obvious to everyone, we do have the actual painting here, and I think everyone couldn't tear their eyes away from it. I gotta say, man, that amongst the things that really just strikes me is the luminous quality of her skin. It's a kind of, it reminds me of the saying, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. We can see a little hint of purple almost in her skin tone that just makes it mesmerizing. There's so many other features, and I'm sure, it's hard to do better than this, to capture the beauty of black women, not just the physical features, but the spiritual beauty as well. MC, why don't you elaborate on that to close us out, and then we'll open up the floor for questions and answers.
Mother of pearls. Oh man, to get this design, as I love my butterfly, right? The designs of the pearls on her face, I went through that thousands of times in my head to figure what I'm going to put on her face. And I said, no, I got to stick to what I do and what I love to do. And so I said, but it got to be in pearls, and I'm going to just do the butterfly and have it in pearls on her face and throughout her body as well. We all know pearls are very precious, as I stated earlier, as women are, especially mothers. So this says everything. Her complexion, I wanted her complexion dark because it's not celebrated enough, But everybody admits it's beautiful.
It is gorgeous.
Everybody admits it's beautiful. So I said, I have to celebrate it and show the beauty. And when I'm telling you, all walks of life, all races, all ethnicities, all different backgrounds, when they see this piece right here, it commands the respect that the women deserve, man. And I always knew it. And that's why I'm so happy and blessed that I was able to create that for people to see. And it's bigger than me. It's not for me. It's for the world and the generations to come. This will be here. We'll be gone. I want this to be here. I want this to be seen. I want them to see how beautiful we are, how creative we are. They have to. So that's my purpose. I believe my purpose on this earth as an artist is to render the service through art and entertainment and give the reality, whether it's good, bad, ugly, or beautiful. I have to do that. That's my responsibility.
Well, MC, we can't thank you enough for joining us here in your hometown library.
Thank you. It's an honor. It's an honor and a pleasure. I thank you once again, man, for taking the time out.
Absolutely.
And asking me to do this. This is a blessing, man. Please feel free to ask me any questions. And,
Yes, we'll open it up to the audience members. Any questions? I know a lot of you out there are artists yourselves and may, have technical questions you want to ask. Any question you feel free to the mic, ask your questions. I do know that some refreshments will be coming at some point, everyone. But I'm going to open up the floor to questions. First,
One last question.
yes, Director Davis.
Just one last question. I would like to feature you in my Urban Art magazine. It's a free-based magazine that's shared all over the world. Want to do an article on you. You'll be in there with some of the great artists. I think it's fair. Hopefully, give me an opportunity to be able to feature you in the magazine.
Of course, we'll talk after this. We exchange numbers and get things going. Thank you, for being willing to have me, man. Thank you so much.
How about others, y'all? Listen, it's very rare that we have an opportunity to engage in an intimate conversation, discussion with such an accomplished talent. And MC's work has been showing recently in art galleries all across Westchester, all too often outside of Mount Vernon. And it really is a rare blessing. So that's another way of me saying, let's hear some questions, y'all, or comments. I even know that, some of you have insights into MC's development, his history. And so whatever you bring to the discussion, please feel free. And I want to say what's up to my man Head, who's here to join us.
That's my brother right there.
I don't really have a question. I have more of a statement, right? I went to the city to see MC's work in a gallery.
Yeah.
And
Tribeca.
this piece was there. It was on display. And when I saw the piece, I immediately fell in love with the piece because it reminded me of my daughter. And my wife would tell you if she was here with me, like I stood by this piece and I just kept saying, I want to touch it because it looked as if this young lady was just there holding a pose. Not a painting, but an actual young lady. Like the skin tone and the way that her nose and her mouth and her eyes were shaped. It was if I kept feeling like she was just there watching me, looking at that piece. So, and then just realizing that it was called Mother of Pearls. It made me think back of my first trip to West Africa, Ghana, and how the young ladies got themselves prepared for times of ceremony, and they looked just like this piece. So it did so much for me. I love this piece. Bro, I love you.
Thank you. Love you too, man.
And I love
Thank
your
you,
work.
bro. Word. Thank you so much.
Other questions, comments? Yes.
Man.
Okay.
I'm his sister.
Yes.
And I just wanted to say, I can remember when I was probably like 4 or 5, walking to school with Kevin and him picking up a painting and taking it home to draw. And we kept that for the longest. And growing up, seeing him at the table for hours and hours. And I used to be playing around and trying to distract him. And he never took his hands off of or looked at the paintings, and it was just like so amazing, but I don't have that talent, so I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, baby sis. That's my baby sis. She seen all my beginning stuff as when I was young, but it's also I'd like to hear my mom. Let's hear her perspective.
I'm Kevin's mother, and I'm so very, very proud of him.
Thank you.
I have paintings in my apartment that's absolutely gorgeous, which he didn't show. He drew a picture of me. I mean, it's marvelous. Every time someone walked in my apartment, they admired that painting. And I'm so, so very proud of him.
Thank
and
you,
I
Mom.
know if his father was alive, he would be sitting right here crying because he's so proud of his son to see
rest
him.
in peace.
Hello, I just wanted to compliment you for
Thank you.
the great work you're doing, and I hope that you could offer it to a lot of young men in our community, instead of them going out doing, bad things, and offering this program would be good for the community.
Yes.
So thank you for bringing it, and your work is very great.
Thank you so much. Well, I do a lot for the community with kids, dealing with kids. You know, I'm an outreach worker for SNUG, so I'm always in contact with kids. We bring them to our office. We got studio stuff. I did an Eat and Paint win last week. So I'm always engaging. I'm at the high school. I'm always interacting with them and giving, you know, just trying to pay it forward. That's it, you know.
And I gotta say, I mean, I think we all recognize how important it is to have voices who have an authentic resonance with young people, especially with young men. And MC really does personify that, because when, you know, it's very important for us as men not to be cornballs. We gotta somehow, whatever we're doing, a lot of these more abstract kind of undertakings oftentimes is coded as being corny, whether you're doing paintings or books or whatever it is that requires focus, and MC just represents to the fullest that you could be that dude and you can be an accomplished talent in your field, and I think we need more of that, and that's one of the reasons why we're bringing so many people head to you, man.
I just want to say that Kevin's being real modest, right? I'm Kevin's supervisor at the SNUG program, and because we have Kevin on board, right? We work with the population in our communities that are at the highest risk of being shot or shooting someone else, right? And since Kevin has become a member of our team, not only have we implemented art at our location, but it's become a statewide thing across the state. Every SNUG unit is now incorporating an art program to their sites, and it's based on the work that Kevin has been doing since he's become a part of our team. So he's being modest.
Thank you.
He's influenced an entire state initiative to add art to the repertoire to help our young men and women that are struggling with the gun violence that we're undertaking at this time. So I could, but I won't. I'm gonna allow Kevin to do that because this is his moment.
All right.
Yes.
How you doing? What is your question? SNUG should never use guns. It's an acronym, and it's guns spelled backward. I'm an outreach worker. I work to reduce gun violence with the highest risk of individuals to be shot or shoot someone else. So, yes, we throughout Westchester we have, I believe, 12 sites or 13 now.
We have 12 sites across the state. We're opening 2 more within the next 2 months. Where? Across the entire state. We have Mount Vernon, Yonkers. The only place there isn't a site right now is in New Rochelle, but we have one in Peekskill. We have 2 in the Bronx. There's Albany, Schenectady, Troy, Newburgh. So we're in almost every major city in the state of New York, and we're still growing. Rochester, yeah.
Yep, Rochester. Yep. So I always figure out a way. We strategically sit down, me and my team, and figure out different strategies and ways to engage the kids. And how can we strategically get them off the street? Because they have talent. They just expressing themselves in a negative way. So if we could play a part on showing them how to express themselves positively, then their mind and their time is being occupied. And when their mind and time is occupied, then they don't have time to be looking for trouble or over here or over there. But what you said earlier is important. A lot of kids, and I admit when I was a kid, I thought it was very, very soft,
Right.
you know, to be an artist, you know. And when I rewind the hands of time in my mind and I say, what made me think that? What made me think that this was soft? It's because I didn't see it enough. And only way I could connect was with Bob Ross painting.
Right.
So what? It was very friendly, it was very soft, he was very gentle, right? And that was the only thing that I connected with and said, oh, well, it's soft, I'm not gonna do that, you know? I don't wanna be looked at as soft. Oh, I don't wanna be, and you're a kid, so you don't know how to properly digest and figure things out. So I know from experience what I went through. So I always try to connect with them. Once, you know, what you see is what you get. When they see me, I talk to them. I talk their language if I have to, because I have to talk the language of the people to get to them. If I'm talking a language that they don't understand, we're not going to connect. So, and then when we connect, then they trust me more. The respect come in. And then I'm able to teach and lead and show them a better way or a different way. And that's how it works. And it's not hard.
Right.
You just got to take the time to do it. And you got to have, you know, that patience, that level of patience and that level of consistency to deal with kids. Because kids, you know, they're tricky and they will test your nerve, you know. Mm-hmm. And we know that. So that's very important, man. So.
Absolutely.
I embraced the challenge because, hey, I was a handful when I was young, so I could understand.
As was I. Are there other comments, questions from audience members?
Okay.
I just wanted to thank you, gentlemen, for a truly professional discussion, educational experience. It really highlights how deep Mount Vernon can be. Oftentimes we don't get the credit for being able to, you know, be deep and wide and, you know, covering all the bases, but we know we got it going on like that. So I just wanted to give y'all your props.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you.
Have you taken your skill set into the belly of the beast?
Of course.
Yeah,
Of course.
that's a good thing. The brothers need that.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And I wrote all about it. I wrote all about it too as well. And a lot of inspiration comes from there, you know. A lot of inspiration comes from there. A lot of, you know, the most people I probably had in my life encourage me was from in there. Mm-hmm. People out here, they, you know, a lot of us, we like to be stuck in our ways. We don't like to give nobody their props like that. You don't like to give the flowers. Now it's a big movement. Everybody is doing it. So that's a beautiful thing. But for the most part, in your hometown, in your city, when you go out and about day to day, there's nobody who's on you telling you, you know, how handsome you are, how brilliant you are. How, you know, you don't see it as often. You know, you have your people that you connect with that will tell you that. But in there, they have no problem telling you, encouraging you not to be in there. But your place is out here to show life and represent what we have to offer as an individual and as a people.
Right.
You know, so, you know, a lot of inspiration comes from there as well.
Well, I don't have any problem telling you that you are a brilliant artist. I have enjoyed this immensely. It's an honor sitting here, listening to you, seeing your work, having me grow as an artist, and knowing that I have a tremendous amount of work to do.
Thank you so much. But, you know, art, you know, your art is your art. You know, and the form and the way you do it, my thing is just create, just do it. That's it. You know, it's going to connect. You know, we have different degrees and different variations of art, you know, and different styles of artists. I love all forms of art. You know, I seen a V, a painted V. And to me, that said victorious. It just spoke to me, victorious. Oh, I like it, the V. It was just a V. Yeah, and it was in red. It was in bright red, so it got my attention. So something just as simple could be so profound, very profound. So I tell people in art, you don't have to be as technical, as detailed as me or another artist who's doing realism work. Just express yourself. Just express and do what you do, and you'll continue to grow. So thank you for sharing that, and I appreciate you.
Are there any other questions? Yes. So, but you have to use the mic if you could. Could you use the microphone? Because we don't want our remote viewers to miss out.
Sorry. Oh, okay. I'm very shy, so I don't talk. I love the presentation and hearing everyone's input and seeing the imagery. I'm both a teacher, I'm a pre-K teacher, and I'm also a graduate student. And so in my graduate program, we focused on the arts, but we also focus on the intervention of arts in school. And so and that's when I'm hearing about how art is so important to the development of how we are as a people, as a culture, and the human mind. And like this presentation like captured all of it. And it captured all of it so succinctly that it's just like, I want to see data, I want to see all of it, because it was just so beautifully done. And I just want to like share how it captured all that in one place. So even as a person who's in a student thinking about how this can be applicable in schools, it was really well done.
Of course, thank you
And
so
thank
much. Thank you so much. And another thing I would like to always say, what's important about art, and when I try to always get people involved in art, because it's one of the only things in life that appreciates within time. It doesn't devalue. So why wouldn't you invest in something like that? Why wouldn't you, be involved in something like that when you are that, right? So, invest in art. Take the time, invest in art, because art is really life, and life is art. And without the artists of the world, man, it's hard to see the future, they say. Think about that.
Well, MC, we want to thank you for providing us with a uplifting vision of Black beauty in the 21st century, something that we desperately need in these uncertain times.
Yes.
I want to extend a thank you to all of the audience members for coming out and participating in today's program. The name of this program is DeCypher. And for those of y'all who are familiar with a certain point in time in Mount Vernon history, you will hear the invocation of the two ideas. Firstly, the cipher, when groups of people come together to put their brains at collective work to think about the challenges that they have, and for the purpose of trying to decipher the challenges that we live in recognition that it's really going to take all of us to figure this thing out together. And so we'd like you to be aware. We appreciate your patience with the technical difficulties we're experiencing at the beginning, but I'm sure everyone knows that like every work in progress, there's room for improvement, and we thank you for being so understanding. We're going to have a more informal discussion. People can feel free to talk directly to MC about his works and prints that are available for sale if you're interested. And I'm expecting some sort of refreshments to come, maybe, something was supposed to come in the door. Hopefully that's going to happen. And in the meantime, everyone, I'm also going to display MC's website, MC Creations, and that'll be another way for you to reach out to him in the event that you want to purchase any of his artwork. On that note, everyone, I'm going to say thank you so much, but before I do, the assistant.
I just wanted to let people know that the poem, You So Black, that's on the flyer that you have. If you go onto YouTube, there are 4 different versions read by Teresa the Songbird, and it will totally fill your soul. And it is the poetic expression that complements MC's work. So I encourage you, if you're feeling the lyrics on the paper, you ain't seen nothing till you hear the sister throw it down on YouTube.
Yeah, that's what's up. And I would like to say, because we always, when I do stuff like this, we always talk about my art, but I'm a poet as well, and in each piece I have a poem too. So I'm gonna start incorporating those things as well. You know, I like to, this is how I show and combine my loves. I figured it out. You know, I took years and years of thinking, well, how am I gonna combine both? Because I don't want to leave one stranded. I want to be able to use my talents, all my talents, you know, to the best of my ability. So that's a beautiful marriage. And it's going to be some things to come in the future, I promise you. You're going to see these pieces being displayed, me performing the poems for these pieces so you get the interpretation and meaning from the person who created it while I'm alive. And let me be alive for a long time so I can do a lot of pieces.
That means we have something to look forward to.
Yes.
Maybe again sometime in the near future when you're available, MC.
Yes, sir.
On that note, everyone, the formal presentation has come to a close, but I want everyone to hang around. We have some refreshments. Talk to MC about his work, you know, and I look forward to seeing you guys again next month. Thank you so much.
Thank you.